Once again, welcome back to Milton Mo Junction. This video is going to be pretty much all about hopefully completing this far corner, which is going to be the diesel depot, oil depot, diesel depot. I ordered and have received the tank from Made in Manchester Models. A fantastic little piece of equipment, or a little model, and I've also ordered some bits and pieces because I'm going to make my own unit to load from the wagons. Now, I'll try and explain what I mean. As you can see, I've done the concrete flooring. It's not in position yet. It's curled up a bit at one end. It's made of two parts. Now, my thoughts were that these are the oil tankers that are going to come in and fill up that tank. Well, if you look, unless you have a massive great tank, probably two and a half of those would fill that tank. So I wanted a facility to take 4 tanks. So what I thought was, what I would do was change it a little bit. Basically, I'm going to separate the tank you see from the loading facility. There won't be any join between them as such, but my little scenario is that there'll be 4 loading points that I shall make up out of the bits and pieces that are there. They will be in position to unload 4 of the wagons. The oil or the diesel unloaded from the wagons goes into a tank underground, and that's where the main tank is situated, underground. The tank then, when required, pumps up to this second tank, this tank above ground here, via this pipe here, and then it's pumped out here and goes underground to the fueling points across the to my right. I mean, that's possibly not prototypical, I don't know, but that's my little scenario for here. I've made the foam board, or cut the foam board, and sprayed it so that it looks something like concrete at the moment. It's curled up, as you can see, but that will be glued to the floor, so that won't be a problem. I've got to make up my little 4-point unloading session or section, and got to spray it and weather it and paint it and make it a little bit more like piping, and see how we get on. So that's the scenario, and I'll leave it at that for a minute and get on with some work. Okay, well, I've done a little bit more. I've had a break for a week or so because my relatives have been up, so didn't get a chance really to come up here. But I've put together some of the plastic components and worked out how I wanted them. So I'm just about to glue the base down so it lays flat now, and then I'll take all the bits apart, and well, they're not joined up, most of them are not joined up, and glue them and spray them. So I'll probably give them a base coat of grey primer, and then we'll take it from there. So I'll show you what I've done a little bit later. Okay, well, this is the 10-inch horizontal tank that I ordered from Made in Manchester Models. I also asked him to send me some components, and I told him what I was going to do, and John at Manchester Models, or Made in Manchester Models, has sent me the components I wanted, and I've put them together and painted them and made this little sort of fuel reception area pipe. I'm just waiting now for one little wheel that I need to put on. Where can you see it there? On there, but I can add that later. I was just one wheel short, but that's not a problem. I've painted them and weathered the pipes to a certain degree, but might do a bit more finishing off. The other thing is, I'll show you better when it's in position, but I haven't put any flexible pipe on the end yet. because I'm not really sure what to do, but I'll talk about that a bit later when I've got it in position. But I'll just show you the area is pretty much ready for it to go in. Obviously the concrete will want a bit more weathering, but that will be probably a later thing. The scenery is around it. It's not glued in position yet. Well, it's on a base of glue, but I've got to spray it all and glue it down further, so it'll look something like that. Obviously, as I said, that's pre-weathering, but that's the sort of idea I'm thinking of. So I'll come back a bit later when I've done all the weathering. I've done all the final gluing. The tanks are in position, and I'll show you what it looks like and my thoughts on it and things to do in the future. So see you in a little while. I've now pretty much finished this corner now. There are a couple of issues which I haven't done yet, and I've got to make a decision on. Obviously, each of those 4 oil pipes where it ends for the oil diesel to be transferred from the wagons, tankers, to the static tank would have a hose on. Now, the problem with O gauge is that if I put a hose that fits over those pipes, it's going to look a bit childish like. So I'm looking for the right hose that hopefully doesn't do that. And the other thing is I could sort of have a coiled hose that is not actually in position, fitted, it's just ready to go. I may well do that, I'm not sure yet. And the other thing is, obviously, I think that you'd probably have fencing, or you'd probably have a wall around the tank, so that if it leaked, the oil wouldn't escape too far. But I think that would sort of hide some of the details, so I don't particularly want to do that. But it would probably have a fence around the back. The problem with it is that I might well put a fence, some sort of wire security fence round the back, but it wouldn't have a natural end. If it was OO gauge, you could probably make a compound, but with this it's harder to do. I mean, I could get the fence hiding behind the building, starting there and possibly round the back and finishing behind some bushes. So it would be a sort of it would just be there. It wouldn't actually be a compound as such, because, you know, if you looked at the whole layout, you'd be able to get to that area quite easily. But it gives an idea. It's not a compound as such, but at some stage I might well put a fence up, just similar to what I've done at the depot end, just for a bit of scenery and to make it perhaps a little bit remote from the back scene, but we'll see. So there's that. There's also the wheel missing, the tap missing off one of the pipes, but I'm just waiting for that to arrive, hopefully. The track I've sort of oiled and weathered, but again, it'll probably want a bit more weathering when I get the airbrush out, but I've done it with some liquid oil, what do they call it? Well, it's a weathering liquid. It's a brown oil, but I've sort of weathered some of it like that, but I may well do a bit more when I get the spray gun out and do the rest of the track. So for all intents and purposes, the old depot is now complete. So now there's just pretty much this area here to do now, and then the whole layout's complete. But well, when I say complete, it's the basic scenery is down. There's still a lot of work to do, but there we go. Anyway, I'll put this up now and let me know what you think. So thanks for watching, and bye for now. Bye.